afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us today. Just another big kudos to Aphasia Access. Man, what a fabulous 24-hour virtual event it has been so far. I think we're about 3/4 of the way through. Look out. All right. Tim, can we see that okay?
Yes, we're good to go.
Awesome.
Looks great. Thank you.
Great. Well, as Tim mentioned, my name is Kait Moses. I am a speech language pathologist at the University of Michigan Aphasia program, and happy to be here with you today. To get started, in case you're not too familiar with us, we are an intensive comprehensive aphasia program based out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. We are the longest standing intensive aphasia program in the States. We've been around for 83 years now and started with war veterans. Our program runs all year long. So the clinical team that works at UMAP is doing our intensive aphasia program every month, all year, all the time. This is kind of a breakdown of what our program components look like. So our sessions run month long, about 4 weeks, and each week our UMAP families and UMAP members get 25 hours of speech therapy a week. That's usually 20 hours of individual one-on-one treatment with a licensed speech language pathologist, and also includes 5 group therapy sessions a week, communication group, also run by a speech language pathologist. And then we're going to talk more about this later, but we also incorporate a lot of computer and tech learning in our program, as well as we host social activities for our families that come and visit. Most of our UMAP families come from out of state. So we host weekly dinner clubs while they're there, and we try to get a lot of social involvement outside of the therapy room to give them a safe space to really bond with other UMAP families who are there with them, as well as get a chance to practice their conversation skills. And also a really big part of our program is our care partner education and support groups. So like a lot of wonderful programs that we've heard earlier this morning and yesterday, we do a lot of focus on care partner training, a lot of education, and we also have a licensed social worker who comes in and hosts some of our support groups with them. I'm not going to go into too much, but we do work with individuals with all types and severities of aphasia. And if you are interested in more, we have some pretty exciting outcome data that's come out of our program, looking at individuals who have gone through our month-long intensive sessions and have how much they've improved, no matter if they're less than a year post onset or if they're 7, 10 plus years. So you can go to the link on this page, or I'll drop a link to our website at the end of this presentation if you want to check that out in more detail. But it's some pretty exciting stuff for intensive treatment. In addition to our intensive month-long programs, we offer and have been offering teletherapy since 2018. We started it as an ongoing therapy option for UMAP clients who wanted to continue receiving or maybe implement their therapy they're receiving at home. And these are one-on-one sessions. We're still doing them today. They're conducted by a licensed SLP, and we use a secure teleconference link, HIPAA compliant. So we've been doing this since 2018, but given the current global pandemic and the chaos that ensued, at least for us in the States in March, we've really expanded on our teletherapy services. These are the local states that we offer teletherapy services in currently. And it's been so incredible seeing all the other programs across the country and globally who have just put on amazing opportunities virtually for the aphasia community. All right, so kind of moving forward, talking about connection and staying connected, we all know that aphasia is can be so socially isolating, right? We might refer it to the aphasia island, this island of social isolation that aphasia puts not only the person with aphasia on, but oftentimes also their family members and loved ones. And when we're talking about social isolation, it not only it can be detrimental, it can be just such a huge barrier for motivation, for recovery in general, and maybe part of the most life impacting and life altering aspect of aphasia. And so when we're looking at social isolation, I think it's so dire for us to acknowledge that a huge component of social engagement and social connection in our society right now, and especially given the current pandemic, is the social connection that occurs over technology and all the virtual opportunities that are available for social connection. All of our texting and communicating and engaging over social media platforms. Technology just plays such a huge role in our social connection and social engagement in life today, not only for people with aphasia, of course, but for everyone, for all of us. And so that's something that as clinicians, we really need to embrace and acknowledge when we are incorporating this life participation approach in our practice. We need to acknowledge whether as much of a challenge as technology is or not, it's something that we absolutely need to address because it's a huge component of daily life. And as a functioning member of society, majority of people are using technology to do not only socially connect with others, but a whole slew of other functions. So for our individuals and our persons with aphasia, technology is obviously often just a major barrier in keeping them from being able to stay socially connected. So this morning, I would like to put a shout out to all of our speech paths listening, to clinicians who might listen to this later on. Let's not forget the value in taking the time in our practice to support these individuals that we're working with in tech navigation and use of technology. A lot of times when we talk about technology in the therapy room, our clients, care partners, and family members think of it only as beneficial for speech practice. Maybe just the sole aspect of looking at using technology to continue the practice at home, that type of thing. But in reality, use of technology can be functional for so much more, not only staying socially connected, but also, as a lot of the talks previously were mentioning, how many cool tools and compensatory aspects of technology that they can use to kind of overcome those barriers and challenges that they're having due to their aphasia. So it's so important for us as clinicians who are working with these individuals to take the time to practice tech navigation and functional use of not only these apps, but also these features and accessibility tools that can just better improve their life and better improve their participation and engagement in conversations and social activities and other elements that they were doing before. When we talk about targeting tech navigation, I think it's important to really think about the fact that it doesn't happen in one session. Tech navigation or navigating a touchscreen, a mobile device, a computer is a motor function and a motor skill, and we should treat it as such just as we would with any other motor function such as their speech. So I think one of the beauties of the intensity that our clients receive at our program is that we have the opportunity and a great chance to really target these types of skills repetitively. So I encourage clinicians to carve out, 5 to 10 minutes every session and just focus on, can this individual orient to their home screen? Can they unlock their home screen independently? Maybe it takes just starting at the basics of being able to turn on their phone. And you can build on and from there. So practicing these types of skills repetitively, it doesn't just happen in one therapy session. It requires lots and lots of repetition and practice, along with the care partner training. So if you're and your client is working on tech navigation and they do great in the therapy room, but when they leave and they go home and 3 or 4 days later or 2 weeks later, they can't remember how to access that nice accessibility tool or how to get off of their locked home screen. It's so important to include that carryover in their care partner or family member at home. So just some things to keep in mind and consider for us who are in the trenches and working with these individuals and trying to really promote their re-engagement and life participation facilitated through technology. So before diving in to a lot of tips and resources that we'd like to provide for you this morning, I think I'd love to share some ideas and some things that we have found to be so fulfilling for both the individuals with aphasia, but also as a clinician. We do a lot of project-based type treatment in addition to traditional protocols and LPAA-focused activities. But thinking about tech, as I mentioned, a lot of times as clinicians, we're geared towards just the speech apps and speech and language apps to take at home to target those really impairment-based challenges. But more fulfilling is often thinking about what are they missing at home? What could this individual with aphasia be doing to broaden their world, reconnect them with others with aphasia, maybe be in touch with their family members and friends. So can they make a video call? Can they FaceTime or use Google Duo to call up their niece who lives in Tennessee? Navigating social media. How much of our sharing and engagement and social connection happens over Facebook or Instagram or keeping up to date on Twitter? These types of things are things that we often will target in our therapy sessions, being able to comment on a photo, being able to like another's post or share a photo that they've taken themselves. Maybe it's something like updating a personal caring bridge, having them really pour into updating their personal caring bridge with their personal experiences and their recovery. How cool is that? Not only in gaining their independence, but also just sharing their own perspective and identity that can often be taken away from them due to their language impairments. So just some things to keep in mind that not only does starting with the basics in tech navigation, you can go far beyond and get creative with it in the therapy room. And it's so valuable and beneficial for that individual with aphasia to be able to go home and do some of these things independently, or maybe with a little support from their care partner. It starts to initiate that engagement and inviting them back into participating in life and being a contributing member of society that they are so dying to be, if not that they aren't already, but okay. So some basics, if you yourself are not too familiar with technology, is we love starting with just any accessibility features that are pretty standard on any mobile device. So just checking if the settings are aphasia friendly. We spend a lot of time in our care partner trainings, if needed, on going over the use of speech to text for individuals who might have difficulty with spelling or typing, but can express themselves verbally, using the dictation features, the microphone feature to, take down a note or put out a text message. Looking at large font or zoom features, Likewise, the text-to-speech functions, the speak function to listen to a text message if their reading comprehension isn't very strong. You know, just these simple things where if you work with the individual with aphasia who can do this independently or with mild support, just gaining that little bit of independence instead of having to have the text message read to them and waiting on somebody else's time. They can interact with Facebook posts or Instagram messages or text messages by using the text-to-speech or the speak functions that come built in on your phone or tablet. So starting with just checking if the devices that your client or patient might be using are aphasia friendly is a great place to start. This resource has been talked about a lot already today, or should I say yesterday, but this awesome free online resource just dropped recently from the Stroke Association, and again, feel free to check it out. There's a link on this page, and I'll go ahead and post it in the chat afterwards as well. But the first step is often just getting them connected, getting them back online. So feel free to check out and use this awesome guideline put out by the Stroke Association. In addition to that, we now use Zoom for our teletherapy sessions and a lot of our aphasia social hours, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. But if anybody is looking for an aphasia friendly, I know a lot of organizations have put these out. Again, we have a UMAP folder that I'll make accessible. It's free and accessible to anybody, and we try to just put in as many tech-affiliated guides and aphasia-friendly directions that you're welcome to share with other clinicians or with your clients. But half the battle, you know, a lot of motivation in getting individuals with aphasia to participate in all of these wonderful opportunities that are available now across so many organizations is the barrier of just getting them online, and kind of that fear and stigma of I'm not very tech savvy. That sounds like a hassle. Teletherapy may not be the best option for us because I don't feel comfortable logging on. So just providing our families and our clients with just basic guides and very aphasia friendly directions to help make it as easy as possible and functional as possible for them. Likewise, we also have resources for video calls. A lot of another project-based session that some of our treatment sessions look like includes scripting for video calls. You know, let's say they have a weekly meeting with their daughter or a loved one, and we can target that speech and language formulation by scripting conversations or troubleshooting comments. You know, I can't get my video on, I can't hear you. Scripting personalized questions in the therapy room that they can then take with them and apply it immediately after when they're at home. So we have a few aphasia-friendly guides for making video calls, FaceTiming, using Google Duo. We also have some video call scripts that you can start from if you're looking for some inspiration. So that's kind of just a short, brief list of a few examples of some resources that you can be providing to your families that you're working with for just getting online and just crossing that barrier of joining the interwebs, joining us virtually. And in addition, now we'll kind of move into the social portion in talking about how to support them in texting, emailing, and interacting on social media. So again, these are just a few examples. This is by no means an exhaustive list, and I'm sure all of the brilliant minds that have been participating in this virtual event could add just so many wonderful examples of things that they've seen their clients and individuals with aphasia use. The ones that I'm going to mention today are free, and so therefore pretty accessible to most people, which is why we use these a lot and recommend these a lot to our UMAP families. So the first one here is WordBoard. As I mentioned, it's a free app and it's pretty cool. What it does is it allows you to custom set preset messages that show up as actual keys on a device. So I'm going to just play a short video while I talk here. So this is nice for our individuals with aphasia who have difficulty with spelling and maybe are very frustrated with their limited written expression and therefore have difficulty being able to interact to text messages or email. Aside from using the dictation feature that we might recommend if they are verbally capable, this is a nice option if their verbal skills are also limited. So what you can do is, what we often will do is we'll take the time to formulate what types of phrases they would like to often communicate via text messages, and we customize their keyboards for them so that when they go into a text message or an email or even to comment on a post on Instagram, they can navigate to their WordBoard keyboard and just click on the key button and it'll type it all in for them. So this is a really cool feature. We do a lot of training with this and practice with this multiple times repetitively with our clients throughout our sessions, so that by the time they go home, they might be able to independently respond to some text messages or engage on some social media using this tool. Move forward here. There we go. Sorry about that. The next one is an app called Clarocom. If you're not familiar, it's a really cool app. This one offers a long, extensive list of preset phrases that you can utilize. It's great for individuals who have a little bit more reading comprehension ability, where they're able to decipher and differentiate between lists of phrases. You also can customize your own phrases. You can enter in your own and customize them to be specific and personalized, which is wonderful. This Clarocom can also act as a speech output app. So again, a really cool feature is if for those of individuals who are a little more verbally limited, it can be a nice tool as well, because any phrase or text that they select, they can have it verbally outputted. This is a nice one too. You can again send it through a text message. You can send it into an email. You can copy it into any type of forum that, such as a post or a comment on any website. So another really nice tool that's also free. And we have guidelines for downloading and customizing and navigating these apps also in our UMAP resources folder that I will link to at the end. All right. Another really great feature that we love to encourage is the use of shared albums. So whether they are Apple users and they have iPhones, they can use iPhoto, where you can create shared albums that you can collaborate on with others in your social network. Or another great option is Google Photos. These are both typically free, and they are a really cool way for individuals who like to express themselves throughout pictures. And so, you know, we in general encourage multimodal communication, and a big thing is taking pictures while they are out and about experiencing an event or when they're out to dinner. If verbal and written expression are difficult for these individuals, then maybe sharing what they've been up to or sharing their personal experiences with their loved one looks like creating a shared photo album that their loved ones can then comment on, or that they can comment on. And in the therapy room, it's really fun to go through personal photos that they have on their devices and get into some language formulation by having them create titles, running comments for each one, labeling each one. Where was this? When was this photo taken? Oh yeah, remember that trip to Ireland? When was that again? So just kind of engaging in again, sharing their experiences in a fun way that is accessible to others that they want to share it with. All right, just checking the time here. So another great way for staying connected is making sure that these individuals with aphasia are keeping up with what's happening in the world. So many times when we're looking for reading material, if we want to target some verbal summarizing or reading comprehension, we try to use current events and updated news sources. So a great one that we often recommend and we'll use in the therapy room is called Newsela. Newsela, possibly. I'm actually not positive how it's pronounced. It's also free. You might have to sign up for a membership, but it's completely free. You can access it on a computer or a mobile device. But it's really nice because you can change the reading level. So our clients can kind of play around with which format looks best for them, and it'll adjust the sentence length, but also the content and vocabulary type as it adjusts, which is really nice as well. So and a lot of people just enjoy seeing what level they're at. So this is a great resource to use in the treatment room, but also to share with our families with aphasia who want to keep up with current events and who want to participate in those conversations of what's going on. Man, especially currently, there is so much happening, and I feel like it's a part of our daily conversations, and it's important for the aphasia community to be involved in that and not feel that they're excluded or, again, isolated from being able to engage socially with what everybody else is talking about. So Newsela is a great option. Another wonderful option is TalkPath News by Lingraphica. This is an app. You can also access it on a computer. It's totally free, and it involves a little more practice and engagement. So it's really nice because it highlights the text and it also plays it aloud, but it offers opportunity for a reading comprehension check at the end by providing quiz questions after reading a section. And it keeps up to date with pretty current events, and just another great resource for aphasia-friendly news. Okay. So these are just a few tips and resources. Again, if you would like to access any of these, I'm going to post the link, or you're welcome to follow our social media pages. We try to put out as much tips and resources for activities. We're doing an aphasia myth series right now, but we try to put out some engaging material, not only for individuals with aphasia, but also family members and other clinicians. We have a piece here called Tips for Staying Social, and we talk about this a lot with our clients, especially when we're going over recommendations for returning home. Man, I cannot believe how many incredible opportunities are being offered. You know, Ellen Bernstein Ellis offering the book clubs. There's Aphasia Recovery Connections, virtual connections groups, Voices of Hope for Aphasia, the Triangle Aphasia Project. I know there's so many more that I'm not listing, but there are so many opportunities for just great social interactive groups that are so incredible for the aphasia community. And I think it's our roles as clinicians who are, whether we're seeing them over teletherapy currently or if you're back in the patient rooms with them, it's important to encourage them and motivate them and work with them on feeling comfortable and confident to participate in these types of opportunities. I know Voices of Hope has an awesome volunteer give back program, aphasia give back program that is beautiful. I heard 2 different talks earlier yesterday that were discussing their volunteer components, participating in research studies, seeking out teletherapy or seeking out any other social interactive groups, and virtual opportunities online are just so fulfilling and a great way to get them to engage and reconnect and meet others living with aphasia. So actually, I think that's probably one of the biggest benefits to our program, and one of the most beautiful things to see is just seeing all of our clients get to spend so much time and bond with other families living with aphasia. I think it's a great way for us to encourage these families to connect on social media and engage in opportunities where they can meet others and interact with others with aphasia. So these are our social media pages. As I mentioned, we are also offering a UMAP Aphasia social hour. They're free, just social sessions run by our recreational therapist, Lisa, and they're every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern on Zoom. So you're welcome to join us. They're themed groups. They're just social hours for practicing games or engaging in activities. Through our social media, we're also doing some aphasia awareness projects, talking about what does aphasia look like, embracing that it's an invisible disability. What else? Our aphasia myth series. So there's a lot of cool stuff happening around right now. And I'm looking at time, and I think we have a couple minutes. I'm seeing Tim come on. Yes, great.
Yeah, we got a couple
Awesome.
minutes.
Okay. Any questions or comments? If not, I can talk a little more in depth.
No, I don't see any comments in here. So if you want to talk a little bit more in depth, feel free. You've got 5 minutes, and Joan is here waiting, so she's right
Great.
after you. So yeah, you got a couple more minutes.
Awesome.
Caitlin, thank you so much.
Hi, Joan. No problem. Okay. Well, I guess my prompt to continue this discussion, and I know there have been so many great thought-provoking discussions earlier in this series in virtual teaching, but there are so many opportunities available online, and I just want to branch out on how we can streamline these as clinicians, as ICAPs, as organizations who are all fighting towards the same goal and working towards the same goal. How can we streamline these opportunities and these resources so that they're more accessible for the aphasia community as a whole, and not as much as a competitive kind of area that we're all competing for? I think that there are so many opportunities right now that it seems like the aphasia community is really embracing, and we need to find a way to reach out to those who are not accessing or able to access these opportunities. Why and how can we help them? And B, how can we streamline and partner together to better cover the aphasia community, not just in the US, but man, all the brilliant stuff that's happening over in the UK and Australia and everywhere else. So just a pose a question out to our community here. I want to thank Aphasia Access again. It's been a really invaluable experience getting to see so many incredible clinicians and SLPs and individuals in our field who are sharing the great stuff that's happening.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Caitlin. We really appreciate you being here, and all the work that you're doing for aphasia. So we can't thank you enough for being a part of the 24-hour teach-in. If there was, just a real quick way, I got you. So I know Todd's been doing this with everybody, throughout the day. How did you get into aphasia care? Just, a real quick 30,000-foot level of how'd you get into it and become so passionate about aphasia?
That's a good question. I actually, as a student, I was part of NISLA, which I don't know if this is a national group in the US that's a student speech and language hearing organization. And we had a guest speaker. His name was Gordon Cranen, who's now my colleague and has worked at UMAT for a long time. But he came in and talked about what the UMAT program. And I guess I can hats off to my clinical supervisor at the time, Katie Strong. she was gracious enough to get a contract in place and was able to place me with the University of Michigan Aphasia program. And so I started as an intern there. And out of all of the wonderful outlets and experiences and areas that you can specialize in speech language pathology, aphasia just called out to my heart the most. So it's the most challenging and rewarding, I think, experience. It's a beautiful, beautiful unity of both.